Hello, my name is Teacher Sean, and I am here today to talk about introductions in your online ESL class. If you have no idea what I'm talking about right now, probably you have not looked at my project purpose video, and I would suggest doing that right now. Okay, so student introductions should not be long or complex, but they are important. You need to remember that yes, first impressions are everything. Someone important said that, and they are right. Just because you teach a great introduction does not mean you'll necessarily have a great class, but you can certainly ruin your lesson here. Often this is the first time you'll interact with your client or student, so you need to focus on creating a warm, inviting atmosphere here. Okay? Now these slides will focus on the first time you meet your client, as this is the most important / difficult student-instructor interaction in the online ESL classroom. Okay, now new student introductions have three main purposes. You need to build rapport with your client, you need to assess their English abilities, and you need to introduce the material of the general lesson. Now, this slideshow will show you how to do these three things. It's also the part of the lesson where hopefully any technical issues can be worked out. If you don't do it here, they're not going to go away by themselves. Now, in order to achieve these goals, you need to get your student talking as quickly as possible. You need to remind your students that in order to get the most out of their lesson, they need to talk in the target language, English, as much as they can. Sometimes this is not an issue. Sometimes they will talk so much that you cannot talk, which is fine. Let them talk. Correct when you can. Now this usually means talking in complete sentences and elaborating on their answers whenever possible. Okay? But you don't need to be persistent about this. You have some students that are not ready to talk in complete sentences. Now other students might initially be too shy or withdrawn. Don't force the issue here. Here are some questions you can ask your students. Again, by no means is limited to this, just some ideas. I start every class with what is your name? Okay. How are you today? Standard. Where are you from? Standard. Okay. We can provide some more detail with our upper level clients. What city are you from? What province are you from? You get the idea. What is your job or occupation? We want to know as much as we can about these clients. What are they interested in? Do you like your job? That's an interesting question. Do you speak English at your job? Why do you want to improve your English? We're coming to some questions that might be a bit more difficult. Okay, mid-level, higher-level students here. Why is English important to you? You get the idea. There are a few questions that I like to use with children that I probably would not use for adults. How old are you? Obviously. When is your birthday? Now this is quite a difficult question for some of my lower level students. Do you like school? I like using questions with the word like or favorite. Okay, favorite is even better than like, because favorite makes my student not just say yes or no. Okay, and when it comes to favorites, children have favorite everythings. Favorite animals, colors, foods, toys, cartoons. Okay, what don't you like? Children have opinions. And finally, why do you like something? The magical why. Yes. Okay, now your choice of questions need to be based off your students' English ability, their interests, and the time restraints you have here. I wrote here that your introduction should be 5 minutes tops. I would not make them longer than 3 minutes usually. Okay, keep this running as quickly as possible so you can get into your main lesson. Here's a point that you should remember. Do not ask students to introduce themselves. This is a lazy question. Okay, this question does not provide any structure for your students, and your lower level clients will hate this question. Your mid-level clients might be able to answer it, but they still won't like it. Okay? Try to provide a framework for your students to express their English through. This question provides nothing but headaches. Okay, so modeling. Yay! Everybody loves modeling, right? It's essential when you're dealing with your lower level clients. I always begin my class by saying, "Hello, my name is Teacher Sean." I model the answer, okay? I point at myself. Then I slowly and clearly ask, "What is your name?" I type this out too. I type everything. Now, if my client cannot easily answer this question, I know that either there's something wrong with our connection, or I'm dealing with a client that's at a very basic level, which is fine. Now I know. Okay, at this point, I try to narrow the focus of the question. Under my name is, I usually put like A, B, C. And then I write Mr. Lee, Mr. Zhang, Mr. Chen. Okay, hopefully names they'll be familiar with. And one of these names should be the client's name. At this point, they will go, "Oh, yes, I am Mr. Lee." Or you get the idea. I then get rid of the blank, and then I write in Lee. Very simple, and 99% of the time this will work. If it doesn't work, then I move on. Well, I will fill in the blank myself if I'm able to. I will say, "My name is Mr. Lee." I try to get them to repeat after me. Okay, but in general, I don't spend too much time with this. We have other things we can focus on, and I don't want to frustrate my student early in the lesson. Okay, so this leads to my next point. While introductions do give many excellent teaching moments, I do not let my corrections stray too far from the real goals of the introduction. Introducing yourself, the lesson, and assessing your students' language abilities. Okay? These are the goals. Anything else is gravy. So, corrections should be made quickly and staying in the general flow of the conversation. Let's look at an example here. Okay, so one of my questions is almost always, "Where are you from?" Before I do that, I will say, "I am from the USA," and I wave my little American flag. Sometimes I get responses like, "I am from the China," which is logical considering that I just said I am from the USA, or I am from Chinese. When I hear this, I write out their response and the corrected form under it. Okay? And then I ask the students to repeat the corrected form after me. Sometimes I'll even just say, "know the," in parentheses, so they'll get the idea. The process is quick and painless, and it allows me to move on to the purpose of my lesson, whatever that is. I still give the correction, though. Okay, so here's what I do not do. I do not go into the article rules. I do not go into the difference between nouns and adjectives. These are lessons, okay? I could spend 45 minutes talking about this. Now is not the time. I give the quick, instant correction, and I move on. Now, I do remember this error, and if I have time at the end of the lesson, I will go back, and we'll talk about it a bit more. Just not now. Okay, here's something very important. If I do not know where my student is from, I do not make any assumptions. Questions of nationality can be touchy subjects. If I don't know, I don't know, and we'll leave it at that. Finally, the final goal of the introduction is introducing the lesson itself. Now, this can usually be done in a question or two, which can organically flow into a statement explaining the topic. Okay, so we talked about our questions before. Really, these introductions are just a series of questions and answers. So, if the topic of my lesson is sports, I will ask questions like, "Do you have any hobbies?" Have you ever played a sport? Do you like sports? Do you watch sports on TV? What sport do you watch? Do you like the Olympics? Have you ever been to a sporting event? You get the idea, okay? Now the questions I ask are related directly to the student's level, and they are all leading to this statement. Today we will be talking about vocabulary related to sports, okay? That's the goal, the statement of the lesson. I also say at the end of, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I am here to help you. Mind you, this would be a statement for a mid-level student or an upper-level student, but I try to let them know that I'm here to help. Okay. Anyway, that's the end of today's little YouTube video. I hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye.